I'm talking with Ben Handcock. He's the coordinator of the Wheat Quality Tour. And Ben, this is the first stop in Colby, Kansas. You had a pretty good turnout already. It sounds like about, 80 folks on the tour this year?
Yeah, I think we got 78 to start with. It's down a little bit, actually, from last year for some reason, which I don't understand. But it's a good group, a lot of people.
I'm fascinated at the people on the tour because they kind of come from all over the globe and a lot of large media outlets too, right?
They do. We have some people from Japan and at least Japanese trading companies. We got a guy from Brazil. We got some from Mexico, and they just come from all over. They obviously buying Kansas wheat and hard red winter wheat of some kind from someplace. So. That's why they come. They want to see what the crop is like out here, and because they know they're going to be getting it in their mills sooner or later.
Well, Ben, this is a very complicated process that you have to keep everybody on the same page, everybody coordinated doing the same thing. Tell me how you guys come up with all these numbers during the course of the tour, because there's a lot of variety out there in the fields.
Well, we have a formula that was developed by the Kansas Ag Statistics, and I give everybody a yardstick, and if you can count the plants in a foot a row, then plug the numbers in the formula, and that's what it spits out for a yield. So, the problem is when you come to places where you had frozen wheat and you got some of it's dead and some of it's alive, and it's a tangled up mess, it's pretty difficult to get a real accurate count, but we can only do the best we can do, that's all.
Absolutely. Now, you had some other folks that talked to the group here. You had one from Nebraska, you had one from Colorado, and they had different stories to tell too, huh?
Yes, they did. I actually went to Nebraska today, and in the south central part of Nebraska where I was at, that's actually as good a wheat as I saw today probably, but the further west it got ugly. And then coming back into Colby, it was that same way all the way, and they tell me we're going to see more of that as we go south from here tomorrow. Colorado didn't sound very good to me either, so it's a tough year for everybody. It's the same way from Texas and Oklahoma. We're going to hear from Oklahoma tomorrow night in Wichita, and I'm thinking we're going to hear the same sad story, and that's just the way it is. And I'm from South Dakota, and I can tell you it's no better up there.
Well, Ben, the weather was actually pretty nice on the first day of the tour. It sounds like it could be the complete opposite on the second and third days here.
That's why I get a rental car. I just have to pay extra to get it cleaned, but it's going to be ugly. I think it is going to be an ugly day, and people are going to be wet and muddy, and the hotel in Wichita is going to love us when we show up.
Do you think that's going to affect the sample taking or not if it gets really cold and blustery and snowy?
Never has yet. We just get out and do it, so I think we'll do the same thing tomorrow that we did today, no matter what the weather is.
And, Ben, this is going to be kind of a finale of sorts, isn't it? Because you're going to have your final report at the Kansas City Board of Trade after this year. What happens?
Well, the building's for sale if anybody wants to buy it, I understand. So, we've been offered a nice company that's been in the wheat business for 100 years, Sosland Publishing Company, who publishes milling and baking news and some other publications, has an office building right down the street, almost on the same block as the Board of Trade, and they offered to have us come there next year. So I told them we'd take off muddy shoes at the door, but that's about the best we could do. But they said, come on, they'd love to have us. So we're going to stay. We're going to keep the same routes, do everything the same that we've been doing.
Well, Ben, I think every so often you're always going to have a bad year, or somewhere there's going to be some bad fields on the tour. How does this rank? I mean, you've been doing this quite a while already, but how does this rank among the worst crops you've seen in this area?
Well, it's sure among the top few. We've seen some in years past where we try to stop on the odometer turns every 10 or 15 miles or whatever we're doing, and we've had places where we didn't get out of the car. We just said there's nothing there, it's zero, so we didn't even stop. But I actually saw a couple of them today. So, this is about as bad as it gets probably. And I don't think we've ever seen all of this damage in one year, the drought and the freeze. We either got one or the other. Not very often do we have the freeze, but we had one in 2007. It was pretty ugly. But this stuff, I haven't seen anything much worse than this.
How long have you been doing this now?
21 years.
And you were describing the variety of people on the tour. Give me an idea of their backgrounds.
Well, we start out with the guy that bred the wheat. We got some wheat breeders, we got producers, we've got the millers, the bakers and baker processors. We got grain traders from every walk of life. We got a bunch of university folks, extension agronomists, the media people from all over the country. It's just about a mixed bag as you could possibly get of the wheat industry.
Well, anyway, you did a great job in coordinating everything for this coming year here. I know it's been a challenge, but hopefully everything turns out great, and we look forward to the final report in Kansas City.
Well, we just do the best we can. It has to be. You know, people sometimes complain about how organized it is and how stickler we are for time, but if it wasn't organized to the nth degree, it would be a total disaster because you can't have somebody leaving at 6 that doesn't get up till 7, So we keep them in line and make sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing.
And when are you going to issue your final report then in Kansas City?
It starts at 2 o'clock on Thursday afternoon.
Okay, we'll look forward to that.
Right.
Thank you, Ben. Ben Handcock with the Wheat Quality Tour. I'm Marlin Bohling reporting for the Rural Radio Network.